consent agenda.
I'll second it. A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those in opposition say nay. Motion passes. Communications, anything other than the department reports?
No, sir.
Thank you. Committee reports, library board.
Library board met Wednesday, June 11th. Among the items discussed, Bridges has a new director, Brittany Larson. Our new library director, Susanna Schroeder, starts on the 23rd. Again, the Chipotle fundraiser for tomorrow. I guess the bingo raffle did over $300, so it was a success. We went over the budget. We're hanging in there. It's doing okay. We approved the employment agreement and bylaws. And as always, we are still looking for board members. End of report.
Thank you. Community Foundation, we met last week. We just talked about the general maintenance of the Clark House, and then they are participating in the upcoming fundraiser for the Briggs family and by doing the raffle part of it. End of report. Finance Committee.
Finance Committee met a few minutes ago. We approved April invoices of $291,571.53. We also approved May invoices of $227,376.31. End of report.
Thank you. Building Board.
We met tonight at 5:30. We had a couple occupancies and we had an actual unfinished business that we tabled for an occupancy for 414 Auto Sports. The owner, Mr. James, was here. I think in the end we had some good discussion with him, and we tabled that one more time for him to get all the vehicles in compliance. And then we had two new occupancy permits, one for Productive Builders, Inc. They're a long-standing business that moved here for a bigger location. They've been having great communications with the office, so that was refreshing. We approved that permit. Second permit was for In-House Machining Company, LLC. They're a small repair machine business with some snow plowing in winter that they do. Again, another business that has great communications with our office. So we passed that as well. And then we had finally a sign permit that was brought to our attention that wasn't pulled. So they complied and had great communication. Again, another with Ben. So that was a seamless process, and we had that go through as well. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you. Plan Commission.
It's you.
And that was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, the Planning Commission met, and that's going to be on the agenda for tonight. And that is to allow for New News Towing, which is on Custer Avenue, to do car sales.
Correct.
Thank you. I'll talk more about that when the new business comes up. Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yes. So Board of Zoning Appeals met to discuss a variance request on behalf of TK Mason. They ended up denying that. The variance request was for 3 different variances from the zoning code with regards to the height, the materials, and the way that the fence was situated. So that was ultimately denied by the board after a hearing where he and the adjacent property owner did speak. End of report.
Thank you. And community events.
Community events met on May 28th, wrapped up bingo for the year, and is planning to meet again on June 25th with our focus being the 4th of July parade. End of report.
Thank you. Report of the administrator.
I will try to be brief. I could go on because there's been a lot of things going on. We met with the McMahon consultants regarding the fire department study today at 4 o'clock. They had a lot of good insight and demonstrated that they are deeply invested in our outcomes. They expressed a lot of really good ideas and gave us some instruction. They're hitting the ground running. They're going to be calling people. They're going to be, getting in and talking with people here soon. So I'm very, very encouraged by their responsiveness and the fact that they are taking the situation very seriously. The road project is going very, very well this week, where we've kind of been getting backed up with the utilities portion, but it seems like we're getting back on track. We did a wet connect today by Hampton Avenue, which went very seamlessly. We are also just working on a bunch of different items, including the budget, which we'll talk about here in a sec, and a number of different miscellaneous things that are coming up. So that is the end of my report.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open for a public hearing at 6:15 PM for an application for conditional use from Jeff and Nick Enya, owner of New News Towing, doing business as Butler Used Cars, to open a car sales and service shop at 12401 West Custer Avenue, Butler, Wisconsin 53007, pursuant to Chapter 54, Article 5, Section 54-357 of the Butler Municipal Code of Ordinances. The property is zoned M2, light industrial and warehousing. Is there anyone present that would like to speak to the public hearing? None. Yeah, we covered it last time, and then what I'll do is if you want to speak, if anyone has any questions during the actual new business part, I can have you come up at that time, since you're the owner. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close that at 6:16 with no speakers. At this time, we'll start new business. Item A, discussion and possible action on a special event vending permit for Flips Mini Donuts LLC on September 7, 2025, from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. for Hot Rods on Hampton.
Yes, so this typically has not been done in the past for these special event vending permits. However, the police department requested that we start enforcing that after there was a vendor last year that we had some questions about. So this, I mean, it is written in our code. We should be, regulating the special event vendors. And I did speak with Hot Rods on Hampton, and they wanted to have this as well, so to make sure that all of their vendors are in compliance with the village code. So it's just a very nominal fee. Fill out the application and go in front of the board to get permission as the code states. So that's what they are doing. We're probably going to have a couple more of these coming in as we get closer to Hot Rods on Hampton.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for the event vending for the permit for Flips Mini Donuts LLC on September 7th at 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item B, discussion and possible action on resolution 25-12, a resolution to approve an official procurement policy for the village of Butler.
Yes, so many municipalities have a written and, for lack of a better term, codified purchasing policy. The village of Butler does not. This policy outlines when, who can approve up to what amounts, how we go about credit cards, how we go about approving various purchases. So we've always kind of had these policies in place. However, we've never had them written down. So in trying to get our financial policies written down, communicable, because again, if something happens where I'm not here, whatever happens to us, they can get carried down from one administration to the next. So a lot of municipalities have this. It is really good practice to have that, so there's no discrepancy if there is some sort of challenge to a purchase, or if somebody has questions on the approval of something, we can go back on the policy that was passed by the board, saying, yes, this is how we go about the policy and procedures. Mr. Holdman did question me, and he's happy to see some of the credit card language in there, as he had some questions that he's always had on how those credit cards get handled. So if you have any questions on this, Aaron and I can help you out. Aaron did the lion's share of doing the research and writing this this policy, so we can both answer questions if you have any.
The only thing I would do is I didn't have any questions on the actual document. Just instead of Paul K as president, could we just spell out my last name?
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Very minor thing. Anybody else? Make it official. If no other questions, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for the resolution 25-12 for an official procurement policy for the village of Butler.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item C, discussion and possible action on resolution 25-14, a resolution to approve the 2024 compliance maintenance annual report.
This is an annual report that we have to fill out for the state of Wisconsin. Our engineering firm puts this together for us. I'm happy to say that we got 100 and we got a nice little A. So, it's great to see. We continue to increase our equipment. I believe it's the equipment reserve fund in the sewer utility. And I included the report that you guys had the opportunity to read through from the engineers. Everything's going very well with regards to that, and we're meeting all of the applicable standards as outlined by the state.
Thank you. Is there a motion? I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-14.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item D, review and approval of the 2025 through 2026 alcohol, gaming, and tobacco licenses. I do not have to read all of them listed, but I'll make a note that these are the ones in the agenda that we're approving, and there are a few businesses that did not comply or did not respond at all. And administration did send out multiple notices, and there was just no response. So what we would be approving would be the ones on the list on the agenda.
Correct. We did have one of the businesses, they did come in and apply, but obviously it was past the posting date, so they will be on the July 15th agenda. Both of those businesses have been informed that they are not legally allowed to sell alcohol per state of Wisconsin statutes and village ordinances until they have that license approved. So I have also informed the police department, and they're aware that they will be checking in on them starting the 1st of July to make sure that they are in compliance.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the alcohol and gaming tobacco licenses for said businesses.
I'll second that.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item E, discussion and possible action on an application for conditional use from Jeff and Nick Enya, owner of New News Towing, doing business as Butler Used Cars, to open a car sales and service shop at 12401 West Custer Avenue, Butler, Wisconsin, 53007, pursuant to Chapter 54, Article 5, Section 54-357 of the Butler Municipal Code of Ordinances. The property is zoned M2, light industrial and warehousing.
Yes, so Mr. Nick is here. If you have any questions for him, or if you would like to invite him up to the board to kind of give an overview, we did approve that at the Plan Commission meeting to move to the board with a positive recommendation. Nobody spoke at the public hearing that we just had. We do have, in my opinion, a very detailed conditional use permit that our attorney did look over, and we did provide to Jeff and Nick, and they indicated that they are in support of the conditions laid out in the conditional use permit. As you have probably read, there's about 32 or so conditions. Most of those they're probably already in compliance with when it comes to just adhering to the codes, any type of signage change that they would need, making sure that the property is well maintained, that they kind of deal with some of the fencing issues. They're going to have 4 of their vehicles in the back left corner of the building, kind of stored away. And Mr. Nick did talk to us in the plan commission that they probably wouldn't be keeping all 4 cars there at a time. Is that correct? You'd just be kind of having a couple, and they wouldn't be staying there for too long. That it would be in violation of the village code when it comes to the junked vehicles. So if you have any questions about what's laid out in the CUP, we are open to answering any of those. But as I said, the attorney did look over it, and the applicant did say that he would approve of the conditions.
And I'll just add to that. The one thing is, you can come up just in case the board has questions, but I will add that at the first meeting that we had, we did the plan commission. I think that's on. You have a couple different lots that you utilize for your actual storage of vehicles, whether you're towing them in or whatever you're doing with them or the transition. You had a couple lots, if I recall. So what would be coming to Butler were just the cars that you'd have for sale.
Essentially, yeah. And if it's like a car that's being brought for the last, like, end of the day kind of thing, maybe there'll be a car sits there, or sometimes we'll get impounded vehicles where the bank, if it's got a lien holder on it, or the owner is going to come back for it, then we'll bring those vehicles and we hold them there for 3 or 4 days before it gives someone the opportunity to pick it up. If they don't want to pick it up, then it goes to a sub lot because it's just takes up too much space. Our lot's kind of small. It doesn't really have a lot of space in there. So.
And I also noted that in part of our discussion was we don't have any complaints and you've been there for a couple years as well.
Yeah, we've been there for, I think, like 6 or 7 years
Yep.
now, and without any issues really. So.
Yep. Does the board have any questions? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application for conditional use.
I'll second it.
A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
All right.
Nick,
You guys
I'll
have a great
just
night.
say,
You too.
this will be recorded with the Waukesha County Register of Deeds. If you can come in this week, there's going to be about, I want to say, a $35 recording fee that we're going to need to collect from you,
Yeah.
and we'll send it off
That's
for
cool. I
recording.
actually have to fill out the state Wisconsin, because I needed to get past this to get the state of Wisconsin dealer license. So I'll bring that in. If I can have you guys sign that too, that'd be great.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a great night.
Have a good night.
You too.
Item F, discussion and possible action on a memorandum of understanding between the Southeastern Wisconsin Watershed Trust, Inc., the McGillen Lab of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee School of Freshwater Sciences, and the Village of Butler for sample delivery and processing.
So this memorandum of understanding, it does not financially commit the village to anything. So they're not going to be collecting any type of fees from us right off the bat. It basically is allowing us to utilize the grant. I included several emails from Aaron Povak at Sweetwater, kind of detailing what the grant was for, and then some emails from our engineer kind of detailing when we would need it. It would only be if the outfall exceeded without getting too technical on outfalls and all that stuff. Basically, if we exceeded a certain level, we would need to collect a sample and then send that sample for testing. And that can be extremely expensive using a private lab, particularly for what we would need to have it tested for. They have secured a grant and partnered with the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee's Freshwater Sciences Lab to have that fee be dropped to $150 per sample. We have never had to have anything sampled, but this is, if we need to, we'd be able to utilize them and save probably a good amount of money doing that, because it does cost several $100s to do that type of sample analysis. So this was just basically approving the memorandum of understanding, saying that we would be able to use them.
Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Southeastern Wisconsin Watershed Trust and the Village of Butler.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item G, discussion and possible action on a right-of-way alteration permit application from AT&T.
Yes, so this is something similar to what happened, I believe it was last month's meeting. It's just a separate address, but they're looking to just have our permission to bore underneath the right of way to be able to connect wiring to a different property in the village. So that's just what this permit is for.
Is there anything there that could be damaged?
They do call out Digger's Hotline and they
Okay.
mark everything.
All right. Reason I asked because they did have a problem right in front of my house there on Ruby Avenue, and that was,
Yeah, that was with Digger's Hotline not properly.
yeah, that was Digger's Hotline. That's why I'm asking.
So the issue wasn't AT&T, it was the people that knew underneath, right?
Yeah, wasn't good.
Is this related to the Butler Tool expansion? Is that what
Um,
that is?
this
Going through our
is-
parking lot?
One sec. Yes, it may be. They didn't specifically say, but I believe that is right around where that's going to be, I believe.
Okay.
Because We Energies is also mapping that out for the underground line laying that we approved a while back.
Okay, sounds good. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the right-of-way alterations application from AT&T.
I'll second it.
I heard Eric. Brad and Eric.
Go for it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I need to abstain. All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item H, discussion on 2026 annual general operating budget and utility budgets.
The fun stuff. So this discussion, the board indicated to administration last year that you would like to be kind of brought into the fold earlier than September, October, to kind of ask questions, be a part of the process, kind of see what we're doing. So that's what we're doing here today, is to kind of start off the budget discussion. I did have a kickoff meeting with department heads last week or 2 weeks ago, where I gave them their budget worksheets and told them that I would like to have those back by the end of July with their budget requests. So right now, our budget document is being worked on. I have updated it with the 2024 audited numbers, the 2025 budgeted numbers year to date as of May 31st, and projected amounts, just very preliminary amounts for 2025. And then I also put in 2026 placeholder numbers. Basically, I copied what we have for 2025 and put it into 2026, just to see where we would be. And then I did adjust the budget for estimated payroll increases, including the police department's contractual increases, and then just a rough ballpark of where I would expect the request to be for, in August for the other employees. So that and some other known expenses like garbage, I averaged that it would probably be a 3% increase. And then also with our letter of engagement for auditing services, I did increase it for the auditing services agreement that we have. I do have also in that budget capital projects that we are desiring to implement. That comes out to be about $170,000 to $175,000, which is lower than it is for this year. This includes a new squad, putting away money for a new roof, cameras at the park, and getting updated cameras for Village Hall and the DPW. That would include stuff like license plate readers and being able to do some facial recognition work on that. And then also expanding the fob system that we have at the Village Hall up to the DPW to enhance security, as they've had issues with people just wandering in there. So we want to enhance security there so they feel safe. The DPW has requested this for several years, and we just haven't had the ability to do it until hopefully this year. Currently, we are not expecting any rate increases with regards to the water utility outside of what's going into effect later this year. I'm expecting stormwater charges to decrease by about $6.61 a quarter, or $26.46 per year per ERU. So for businesses, that'll be more than that type of savings because most of them have more than one ERU. For sewer charges, this year it's a little bit of a difficult situation because this year we are eating about $100,000 worth of expenses, mainly driven by capital. What's affecting the sewer utility is that we are continuing to see a decline in the billed usage. So what we base the sewer utility fees off of, and we have historically, is the previous year's billed usage. So it's gone from about 93 million a couple years ago. Now we're down to about 84 million. And that 10 million gallon drop does have significant impacts. I believe that a large part of that is being driven by Cargill. When I talked with them at a business retention meeting, they said that they're looking at employing water saving methods when they're doing cleaning. So they're using less water, and they use at least 10 million gallons a quarter amongst their three utility meters. So as they continue to decline, we have to increase our fees to make up and keep steady with the budget. So right now, our current local rate is $2.99 per thousand. That does not include MMSD charges. It's just local for our budget. If we do not eat any more of the costs, we would be looking at an increase of going up to $4.44 per thousand, or $1.45 per thousand increase, which would be quite a bit. Again, that's just dealing with the decline in usage, billable usage. And then we have, again, stop me if you have any questions, but then we have three current issues that I'm looking at. We currently have the fire department issue that's hanging over our heads on what we do and what our next steps are on that and how that's going to affect the budget. I do have some budgetary maneuvers up my sleeve to compensate us for 2026 and to get us through there. But that's something we're gonna have to be really looking at. Currently with the capital fund requests, and I do not have any updated revenue numbers from the state. I don't have any type of net new construction numbers, but if we keep everything the same except for the items that I mentioned before, which is salaries and garbage and auditing, we are looking at, with the capital fund, to have to find $47,276 to cut if everything were to stay the same, because that's how much we are over our allowable levy. Obviously, that's going to fluctuate, as I do expect us to get capital, the expenditure restraint program funds, which is about $60,000 that I currently do not have in the budget because that has not been yet awarded. We also do usually see increases from the state and state aid when it comes to the state transportation aids and possibly the state shared taxes / revenues. So we're hopeful that that is the case. We are also looking at other ways of making up revenues, but we're just in the very preliminary stages of that. The last issue is something that I became aware of late last week, and I am currently still investigating. I have meetings with our auditors and our financial advisor at Ellers because it is my belief that the village may be double charging the utilities when it comes to the expenses. So in 2010, the village board at the time passed a resolution to have, if you look at the budget, you'll see payment from storm, payment from sewer, payment from water, to the tune of a total of $78,000. That was transferred to the general fund to pay the general fund back for the expenses incurred through usage of vehicles, office space, office equipment. Because it was my belief that at the time, either they didn't allocate a lot of the expenses to the utilities, or they did it in a lesser amount. Again, I can't confirm. Somebody at the board at that time may be able to clarify, but it does look like when I look back at our budgets in 2015, we started to allocate out to the utilities for the expenses. So what I'm seeing and what the auditors have indicated at the first glance is that they're in agreement with me is where the users are getting charged $26,000 per utility for money that's transferred to the general fund to cover certain expenses. We are then taking those same exact expenses, so gas and oil, office equipment, I think one of the things in the resolution was miscellaneous equipment. We're charging them through the allocation process for the exact same equipment that they paid us $26,000 for. So they're kind of getting charged twice. And what I equate that to is if you're a hairdresser and you cut hair, you pay the salon a certain amount of money to use their wash facilities. They then bill you after that for the usage of the water. So you pay, but do you kind of understand where I'm getting at? It seems like we're double charging the utilities because the utility rates are being expensed at the $26,000 that we're transferring to the general fund. And then they're also getting increased due to the expenses that we're then allocating to the utilities, even though for office equipment, it was already kind of transferred per the resolution. I can provide that resolution to the board if need be, but the auditors say that my analysis is sound and that they agree with my interpretation as I have detailed to them. So again, this is just very preliminary. We're looking at it, but there could be an issue where $78,000 that is being allocated currently to the general fund may not be able to be allocated there.
A negative impact.
Correct.
And when do you think this happened?
The resolution was passed in 2010. Allocation started, I believe, around 2015.
And how many audits have we had since then?
Since,
And why wasn't it caught sooner? And I'm not.
No,
you weren't-
what they, I can't speak for them. When they come in for the audit report in, I believe, July, that would maybe be a fair question to ask if you have that question still. I will definitely be posing that to the auditors, but I kind of already have an idea of what they would tell me. But that, again, this is just preliminary. I just want to put that out in front of the board. This might be coming down the pipeline. But like I said, I could very well be wrong. And I hope that I am. But again, that's just, I wanted to put that out there to be fully transparent with the budgeting process.
I don't understand like the whole discussion from a standpoint of why did the auditors take 10 years to find this?
That's
So
my
that's
question.
exactly what trustee Tarks is asking. So did this
They
come
weren't
from
even
the,
ones that found it.
It sounds like Ben
What's that?
found it.
I
Ben
found
found
it. The auditors didn't even find it.
so it's, I guess, before we get into a more in-depth conversation, I'd like to hear more from the auditors and then just kind of what that means if we have to go back then and pull that money back, or it's just a little confusing.
It's confusing to me, and it's very to me, in my opinion, I think what happened was the resolution was in place, and then between when the resolution was in place and we started allocating, there was 3 different administrators. It started off with Mr. Rohde, then it was Mr. Thies, and then it was Ms. Chadwick, then turned Ms. Thorpe. So it seems like there could have been just like a miscommunication or something didn't carry through when that happened, and that's where we ended up in this situation. So yes, the auditors should have, in my opinion, have questioned and caught that. But also, it was village staff that also, we didn't do our part to look at it as
I
well.
was just gonna say, it seems like the other administrators didn't do their part. They would have, if you caught it, they should have been able to catch the same thing.
But with that being said, isn't that why we have audits?
Yeah,
Well,
what I'm
that's
bringing up.
exactly
Right? So
it.
for 10 years,
Yeah.
we had a company that really didn't do their job.
And it could, and again, I wasn't here, obviously, in 2015, 16, 17. There could have been questions asked, and the answers given to the auditors may have satisfied them and then carried through. I can't speak to that. But when I talk with Michelle tomorrow at 10 a.m., I will make sure to ask her that.
All right, well, I think we should just put that on the back burner until we know for
Correct.
sure exactly
Like
what
I
the
said, it was just-
discussion is.
Yeah, I was just bringing it to your attention, so I didn't drop it in an email later on. And
Great.
All right, so I had a question back on the, I think it was, you said the storm sewer, or it might have been the sanitary sewer rate?
Okay.
And you said we had to eat 100,000-ish. Does that mean that we aren't charging enough for 100,000, or the fund just had to be used of $100,000?
so if you remember back to November, it was discovered that the village was overcharging sewer. The utility was overcharging customers because the longstanding formula that was used by the village was taking the capital charge that MMSD allocates, and we were applying the full amount every quarter. that was putting us way, if you look at our fund balance numbers, it was giving us like $100,000 to $200,000 every year in excess of what we had budgeted for revenues. So to help correct that, because we had a lot of capital expenditures this year, we would have needed to increase our rate to above $4 this year, but we kept it lower by saying, okay, well, we overcharge people. We don't want to raise the rates. We're going to eat $100,000 of that to burn down that fund balance that we may or may not have, should have accumulated because we were overcharging. So that's, again, the background on that. So if we don't decide to do that now, we could be, we would have to increase it to the $4.44.
So the balance went down 100,000.
The fund balance will, at the end of the year, could go down 100,000. It might not, depending on expenses and revenues.
And that was on the storm?
That was on the sanitary.
Sanitary, thank you. Okay. The one, I'll just make just a very brief, something that for budget wise, since you mentioned the squad car, something that I did present to Ben and Chief Zalewski is possibly for 2026 making or having the option to purchase a second squad car if needed, because we definitely will need one in 2027. That's going to possibly throw the numbers way out of whack, but I did simply present that because it could save us a couple $1,000s between 2026 and 2027. And then we also have one squad that's we have one that the engine is gone, and we have another one that has almost identical miles and hours on it. So I'm just only mentioning it. We don't know what it would look like, but that could be a budget discussion as well.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that, the reason why those cars are having issues, and again, Captain Benson is here if you have any questions on that particular item, but is these cars were kept for 8 years. They shouldn't be getting kept for that long because even though the mileage isn't super high on them for being 8 years old, they do have a decent amount of idle time, and the calculations, every hour of idle time is 33 miles on the engine, I believe, is what Joel and Brian had told me.
And that's how our discussion got started. So just something that we're throwing it out there. I'm presenting that just as something to be aware of if we might possibly be able to do that. Just something. We know for sure we need one for 2026, but we kind of would be nice to get that work done. But
So if we
In that vein,
double up, where does that put us then? Does that give us some reprieve?
yes,
Or does that, because right now and I understand it, right? We're hammering a car a year to try to make up for the 9 years, and idle time 100% is the worst for those cars. That's what fails those cars. Mileage isn't a factor. I'd also, with that being said, what maintenance plan do we have these cars on? I mean, I've never seen anything. Who's doing the maintenance, and what's our program on that other than, I think I need a oil change. I don't know what's there. There could be something, but I think if we're going to put some expense into it, we should also see how it's maintained, and it follows through to DPW as well, right?
Sure, and oh, sorry.
well, I can answer most of that. I mean, I just want to keep it very light.
Yeah,
but-
no, I just have, when you're done, I just have one thing to add on because Chief and I have had a conversation.
Yeah, we've had a couple talks about it. So in the very simple terms, in the past, everybody would drive the new squad.
Right.
And that's how we got to where we are today, because all the miles went to the new squad. So what the thought is, and what the police are doing now is they do regular oil changes, I think every 3,000 to 4,000 or as needed. I think the car tells them when it's needed, but they do that in-house. They do their own oil changes at the DPW. And then Chief has instituted they're now assigned squads, so they're going to be better balanced on the mileage going forward. We're just
works well with our overlap schedule and keeps use mileage and oil.
R- r- So with that, great. But part of my point is they are law enforcement officers. They're not mechanics. Oil changes, do we implement, like, there should be an annual, like, go through the car because they may not pick up something that could be seen if they were going out. I don't say we need to do oil changes somewhere else, but do you get my point where maybe we can catch some things that are occurring, or this got worn out because it was in a chase or it hit or something? And it's not anything against them. They're police officers, not mechanics.
And what I'll say is I talked to the chief, and something that as part of the rotation and getting these cars on a tighter rotation, spreading out everything, is there's relatively inexpensive warranty, like full coverage warranties that the police department has explored, that would basically cover. And again, I know that the warranty business is sometimes a little sketchy, but I believe that you have very, very good relationships with the dealership that we get our cars from, and it would cover. So like when the engine blew up on 21, 22, a lot of that stuff would have been covered under the warranty if we've had it, because we've had the regular warranty, but we haven't had the extended warranty, is my understanding.
Correct.
So after a certain amount of time, those then wear off. So if there were to be something that blew up or whatever, it would be covered, and our vehicle expense line item would be able to be declined in value because of that. So that's something that they are working on.
Great.
To try to get that.
Yeah. I mean, I like that we can keep it in-house, saves us money too, right? But my only point is maybe there's something we need to do once a year, that just have a go through, just to see if there's something that can be caught, which then saves us money down the road.
Well, the cars go to the dealer. I mean, I think the only thing we're really doing in-house is oil changes and brakes, if I understand.
Yeah, tire rotations, very basic maintenance stuff. And Joel is, I believe Joel is still ASC certified.
Yeah,
to
right.
Do that.
Right.
And then any little noise or anything that's out of place, we do take it to the dealership in Tulsa pretty quick to address it. But then to Ben's point with these new warranties that we're looking into, the one that we're discussing most will get us about 6 years and about 80,000 miles, which is above generally where most of the squads seem to be dying out. So
Our goal is not to keep a squad for 6 years, right?
No.
Well,
I mean,
Because we run in, we bury ourselves like we are now.
and that's exactly what happened is we kept these things for 8 years. We had the Tahoe, which was before you, which was a disaster. Every time we tried to, the old plan didn't work, especially then when we brought on the 9th officer, we didn't really incorporate extra miles and staffing. So, and then we had the Ford Taurus that blew. So we basically have 2 engines blowing because we take them all the way down to 0.
Agreed,
And it's
100%.
just now this is just a little, we're trying to get caught up is what we're doing.
And part of what I'm trying to say is
Yeah.
to make that system as best as we can. And if,
We're getting there.
well, I agree.
Joe does a good job of keeping it right on time.
he does.
Joe is
We've
really-
been doing a better job, especially in the last year and a half or so, of keeping track of.
So just for the record, I'm not saying Joe is misdoing anything.
Oh, I know.
What I'm saying is, right, he's a police officer, right? He doesn't work on cars every day. A lot of things are caught with oil changes and that type of thing, right? That's all I'm saying. And my whole point is maybe we look into the cars go in once a year for a full Monty makeover. Like, call it, going to the doctor and doing your yearly checkup. That's all my suggestion is. Not what Joel is doing. I think he's doing a fine job, and we're all working to get these cars on a system now where we're not under the gun. That's all I'm saying.
And it helps because the newer ones have warranties. So any little thing they're going in now and it's being covered, that helps our pocketbook as well, because the expenses and the maintenance we found kind of after like that 65,000 mark are just incredible.
Yeah.
Where it's thousands of dollars. So yeah, we're working on it. I mean,
Okay, with that thought, what happened to the accident with the car down here at the other end? Our last new car.
Yes.
That squad is now, I guess, replaced. We're still kind of down one with 22.
Correct.
But that replacement is back in service now.
And then Joe, we're expecting that the second new vehicle to come in this month or next month.
Correct.
And then that will be in service August.
Hopefully, we have all the computer and other hardware for it. So hopefully very quick after we get it. I would imagine a couple of weeks after we get that squad, it'll be in service.
So I think this board has definitely done a much better job of trying to get the equipment caught up on these squads, because 8 years we now know is just way too long. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, the officers realize how much of a burden this is too. So we're not letting the squads run in the parking lot. We're not sitting at the park for hours with the squads running. A lot of that stuff has been alleviated to address this issue too.
And then having the squads assigned is going to help with the mileage and the hours too. So
Correct.
I think we're on the right track.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that budget update. Does the board have any questions for Ben or Aaron about the numbers or anything they want to talk about? Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. We're adjourned at 6:56. Thank you.